The Mario and Sonic Olympic Games series has been around for a very long time and has been praised by fans, for it is the first time seeing these series cross over. Outside of Smash Bros, of course, but the Olympic Games happened way before that. However, there has been some criticism for the game simply because it's the Olympics, and many, including myself, would much rather have a full-on platforming crossover game of Mario and Sonic instead. There's also been some criticism towards some of the more recent installments being more lackluster compared to previous entries. I made a post about asking people what their pros and cons for each of the games were and how they would rank the games as well, and got a lot of replies. So today, I'm going to be discussing each of the games, including their portable counterparts, and what they each brought to the series as well. And I will give how I would rank each of the games and give you my praise, criticism, and even my own Olympic Games idea. Alright then, let's begin with the game that started it all. Number 1, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, 2008, Wii and DS. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games was the first installment of the Mario and Sonic series, and at first this was seen as an April Fool's joke, but later revealed to being real. I was like 7 or 8 when this game was revealed, and I remember watching the trailer, commercials, and opening movies over and over again because of how hyped I was for this game, and because it was around that time that I got into the Mario and Sonic franchises. So seeing them cross over was a dream come true. I bought it for the Wii and my DS, as well as some of my cousins, so we all shared the love of this game. I'll first talk about the Wii version. This Olympic Games takes place in Beijing, the host of the 2008 Olympics. The game contained 20 Olympic events which were divided into different classifications, such as athletics, gymnastics, archery, aquatics, fencing, table tennis, etc. It had 4 dream events also, which are events that take place and or use elements from the Mario and Sonic series. It also had circuits, which are basically tournaments competing in events to win a trophy, as well as a mission mode. The roster for this game contained 17 characters, each of whom had a specific rival for the game. Mario vs Sonic, Shadow vs Luigi, Wario vs Knuckles, Amy vs Peach, Tails vs Yoshi, you get the idea. Now there may be 17 characters, but there were definitely more planned, as characters like Jet, Rouge, Birdo, Donkey Kong, Silver, and oddly a Goomba were all found in the beta files of the game, and all of them minus the Goomba will go on to become playable later in the series. Mostly playable. Oh, I mentioned there were 17 characters. You see, there are actually 16 Mario and Sonic characters, but the 17th character was your Mii character, which you can play as. This game was received very well, but some did complain about the motion controls and certain events. For me, I liked it, and I definitely kept myself busy for a while, but I do agree about the controls being frustrating. The DS wasn't really that different aside from having some exclusive events, but I did have a good time with it. For me, both games would go at the C spot in my ranking list, as it was the beginning of the series, so I obviously shouldn't expect that much. Now, grab your coats, cause now we're headed to winter.
Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games!
Number 2, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games, 2010, Wii and DS. This game was the second installment of the Mario and Sonic series, and this time takes place in Vancouver, the host of the 2010 Olympic Winter Games. This game definitely stepped up in quality and quantity, and is considered by fans to be the second best of the series. Just like the last game, I bought it for the Wii and my DS, so let's get started on discussing both of them. The game introduced many events such as ice hockey, snowboarding, figure skating, skiing, curling, and many more. The game also steps up in the dream event aspect and brings events with a Mario and Sonic twist in many locations from past games, such as Seaside Hill, Mario Circuit, Radical Highway, and Bowser's Castle. All these events were like so much fun to play. I remember doing Dream Snowboard Cross so many times and Dream Figure Skating non-stop with my cousins. There's also Festival Mode, which is basically the Wii version's quote-unquote story mode, where you compete in all the events either by yourself or with a team. You also face off against rival characters, such as Dry Bones, King Boo, Omega, Rouge, and even a Bullet Bill. Speaking of characters, the game brings in 4 new characters, 2 of which, as I said before in the beta files of the previous game. These characters are Donkey Kong, Silver, Bowser Jr., and Metal Sonic. The girls in the game also received an outfit change appropriate for this kind of weather. This game also contains a party mode where you play minigames, a little shopping area where you buy clothes with points you earn by completing any event or mode for your Miis, and add decals and such to your sports equipment. The DS version had many exclusives, such as the highly acclaimed story mode, where you had to stop Bowser and Eggman after they steal some snow spirits, and without them, all the snow in various areas will melt, and the Olympic Games will be spoiled. This game was far better than the first, and both are ranked S on my ranking list of the games. But it's the next game that really brings out the fun.
Mario and Sonic at the London 2012 Olympic Games!
Number 3. Mario and Sonic at the London 2012 Olympic Games. 2012, Wii, and 3DS. This game was the third installment of the Mario and Sonic series, and it takes place in London, and it was the best in the series. Again, I bought this game for the Wii and for the 3DS for the first time. So, let's get started. The Wii version is my favorite, because everything about it just feels so alive, especially with the opening movie. My goodness, they really amped up the quality in these things. It's the same roster of 20 oddly, but the game was so much fun that I really didn't pay that much attention to it. The girls even got a costume change once again. Fun fact, the guys were all originally gonna get a costume change for Aquatics too, but they were rejected due to the fact Sonic never takes off his shoes. So they only did it for the girls up until 2020, of course. The game contained 31 events with new events such as football, aka soccer, beach volleyball, rhythmic ribbon, and so on. Dream events returned with new locations such as Metropolis for Sonic Heroes and Moo Moo Meadows for Mario Kart Wii. Each event really shines, and just like the last game, me and my family always had a blast playing these events and beating each other's records non-stop. There's even a little ticket system where you use scratch cards which you obtain by completing an event or mode. You use these to get clothes for your Miis or music from the Mario and Sonic series to listen to in the events. There's also London Party Mode, where you compete in a London party area and compete in numerous minigames to win. You even face off against rival characters again. The 3DS version was a bit different from the Wii version, aside from having a new story mode where you had to stop Bowser and Eggman, again, from taking over London, and some exclusive events. Oddly, in this one, each of the cast is split into groups and could only compete in events specific to that group, such as heroes can only do 100 meters or the girls can only do equestrian. It was odd, but it didn't really bother me that much. The Wii version is ranked S in my ranking list because there's always something more to come back to and to complete. And for the 3DS port, it goes at B. Well, time to grab the code once more because it's time to head back to the code. Number 4. Mario and Sonic at the Sochi 2014 Olympic Winter Games. 2014, Wii U. Try saying this title 5 times fast. Anyways, this game was the first installment of the series to be made exclusively for the Wii U, meaning there was no 3DS version of this game. This game was mediocre at best. This is where the games began to drop when it comes to presentation and quantity. This game felt dry and didn't have much to offer. It also didn't help that the roster still didn't change, and it has way less events than the last game. 16 events. Dream events do return, and I appreciate them using more locations, but it still didn't sit right with me. I'll give the game credit for using some good music and some good events like figure skating pairs and groove pipe snowboard, and good graphics. And I like how the characters are doing the poses in the selection screen for the events that they're in. And the characters even got a special victory animation for when you pair them up. That was a nice touch. But what I didn't like was the motion controls and the gamepad use. I didn't have a Wii Motion Plus remote, so I had to borrow one from my cousin in the meantime until I bought one of my own. This really shouldn't have been a requirement. These controls somewhat sucked, especially for the event Biathlon, because we were going back and forth to the remote and gamepad. The game offered another quote-unquote story mode called Legend Showdown, where characters are split into teams facing off against shadow clones of themselves in events, and they finally face off against rival characters. Again, this was the first game that offered online, but it was only offered for 4 events, oddly. There's not much else I could say about this game that's good. To quote my cousin, this was basically an HD remake of the 2010 game, but less in quantity. It goes at the bottom of my ranking list. Anyways, time to get my sunblock! Number 5. Mario and Sonic at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games, Wii U and 3DS. This game takes place in Rio de Janeiro, home of the 2016 Olympic Games. It now has a full-on hub world taking place on Copacabana Beach, which I found to be a great and nice change. There are a few spots in the area where you have to unlock, such as the tournament, Hero Showdown, event match, the Miiverse monitor, ghost matches, shopping areas, and so on. Well, you can only go through this hub world as your Mii, but you can change in other characters if you compete in the level 3 or higher tournaments. But only in tournaments. The game, like Sochi, has very low events. 14 to be exact. And it oddly gets rid of dream events and gives us dual events, where they just use Mario or Sonic elements rather than its actual locations. This game has its good, but mostly bad things about it. The good is that it brought back the game having on 2 separate systems again, and getting rid of motion controls. Also good is that the roster grew in size, adding 20 new characters, some of which are exclusive to a console version for some reason. These characters include Jet, Rouge, Espio, Rosalina, Toad, Omega, Larry, Zaz, Stitz, Dry Bones, Wave, Cream, Diddy Kong, the list goes on! And I was so happy to see that. Finally, we get new characters after so long. Or so I thought. The bad part of this is, they're only playable in one event each. Yes, that's correct. You can only play as these characters in one specific event. That was my main gripe with this game. We've been waiting so many years to get new characters, and then we find out that they're only playable in one event each? Where's the logic in that? It's like saying for Smash, if I unlocked any of the new fighters, I can only play as them in a specific stage. Wanted to play as Rouge? Great! You can only play her in beach volleyball or in golf. Want to play as Jet, or Espio, or Rosalina, or Diddy Kong? Yeah, me too! Let's go to football, triple jump, gymnastics, and rugby because that's where you can only play as them. Now with my ranting over, let's go to the 3DS version. It has a short amount of events and uses plus events instead of dream events. And has a story mode where you take your Mii all across Rio, choosing a team of Mario and Sonic, and a plot of Bowser and Eggman, surprise surprise, is uncovered. This game was okay, but it didn't really add too much. But it was definitely far better than Sochi, and it introduced new special animations for the new characters, so it goes to the B tier for me, and for the 3DS version, it goes to C. So, I'm guessing we have to put back our coats on again, right?
Wrong!
Number 6. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, Tokyo 2020, Nintendo Switch. Wait a minute, what? 2020? What about 2018? Yeah, fun fact, we didn't get a 2018 Olympic Winter Games because of Ubisoft. They took the rights of the 2018 Olympic Winter Games and made their own game before Sega could. So this marks the first time that they had to skip an Olympic Games. To be honest, I think it was for the better, because this game was way better than Rio. To start off, the game again stepped up in quality as the graphics and the models of the characters were really shining. And if you notice, this is the first time that many of the characters, and not just the females, are wearing appropriate attire for the events. So no more Mario running or swimming in his overalls, which I found to be very, very weird, so I'm glad he got a costume change this time around. People really love this inclusion, and I'm glad they finally did this. And I hope it stays for the next game, if they may ever make one. New events for this game include surfing, karate, skateboarding, and sports climbing. And they even brought back dream events. Sadly, it's only 3, but it's good to see them back. The roster still hasn't changed, and the guest characters return as guests. We got Toadette as a new guest, so that's nice. Kinda weird seeing her here without Toad being playable. Speaking of which, they even cut many of the guest characters, so many of the events don't even have a guest. And they cut out the Miis as well? Why? You'd think after hearing our complaints about Rio, that they'd upgrade the guests to be fully playable. Oh, fun fact, Xena was found in the announcer files for the game, meaning she was planned to be playable at some point. Oddly, there was no corresponding Mario character, so it makes you wonder who else is planned to be playable. Pauline! Also, the announcer files, you know how they always say, gold medal or silver medal? Yeah, oddly that's not in the final game, but it was in the beta files of the game, so that means they plan to put that in. I don't know why they didn't include that, but I'm guessing it was too much files for it to handle, I guess. So yeah, now in the award ceremony, you don't hear gold medal Mario, gold medal Luigi, and all that. So yeah, it's kind of weird. Also new to the table are the 2D events, where you compete as certain Mario Sonic characters in retro events. Now, why is this a thing? It's because in the story mode, yes, there's a story mode, Mario, Sonic, Toad, Bowser, and Eggman are sent into a retro game and have to compete in events to get out. The story mode is also where you unlock the guest characters, and there's even minigames to play. I will say though, it's good to finally have a story mode on a home console for once. Seeing the characters interact and stuff really brought a smile to my face. This game has many good qualities, but it certainly lacks in quantity, because after I beat the story mode and unlock the guests and the minigames, there's nothing else to do. Sure, in story mode I collect trivia, but I collected them all already. The past games had multiple modes, and unlockables, and collectibles to obtain. There's no remix music. And yes, there's remixes of Pizza Castle and Metropolis, but all the previous games had plenty of remixes. And you know what the odd thing is? The mobile port of this game that only features the Sonic characters has remixes, which I find to be very strange that they put it in that game, but not in this one. Also, you're not allowed to change the music in the events, which you were able to do in the past games. Also, no costumes since the bees are gone. Nothing! While this game is fun, it certainly lacks in quantity in certain aspects. I appreciate that they stepped up in presentation. I'm happy they gave characters new outfits. But it still feels like they missed the mark. It just needed something to make it on par with London and Vancouver. This is why it's ranked A on my list. Number 7, final thoughts. The Mario and Sonic series definitely has its highs and lows, but it needs a little spark to make one game in the summer or winter to make it the best it can be. The next Winter Olympics is in Beijing, where it all started with the first game. So there's an opportunity right there. If they manage to make a game, here's what I think the game's roster, number of events / stream events, modes, collectibles, and such should be. 1, bring back their appropriate attire again. People loved it and will love it in winter as well. Come on, Eggman and Shadow in figure skating clothes. Come on! Okay, so, Team Mario should have this cast of new characters. Rosalina, Diddy Kong, Toad and or Toadette, Pauline, and Birdo. Team Sonic should have these two cast of characters. Jet, Rouge, Omega, Espio, Wave, and Cream. Or if you want Zaz and Zappa to replace Wave and Cream, cause let's be honest, they're gonna use the Deadly Six again. That's 30 characters. That's it. I'm not asking for a full-blown roster like in Smash Ultimate, but these amount of characters. These guys more specifically to be fully playable, because they have been characters that people have been wanting in the roster for a very long time, and definitely deserve to be fully playable. Especially these two. They should have been added by now. It's completely weird that they haven't been added yet. They're on the front cover for Rio, for crying out loud. Rouge and Rosalina should have been added since like London. So please, if you're watching this Sega or anyone from Sega, make them fully playable in the next game, if you make it. And the people watching this video, spread the word and tell them this too. Seriously, it's ridiculous that we haven't had a roster change since Vancouver in 2010. For events, you can throw in any kind that you want, but have the events be in high amounts, such as 30 or 25. And for dream events, put in 5 or 10 at least. And the music and location can range from anywhere, but put in locations and music from Mario Odyssey or Sonic Forces. For modes, bring back online, but make it better with online tournaments and such. Because when I played online for Tokyo 2020, it was always very rare for me to play online with people. Because the first time I played it, it was with a friend who had the game at the same time as me. So we were lucky to get the test of the online. But yeah, make sure the online is better next time. And for other modes, put in tournaments, party mode, and story mode again. And if not story mode, then put in a mode like festival at least. New clothes for the Mii's as well. This is what I expect to see in the Mario Sonic Olympic Games. Ever since London, the series has gone down in many aspects. Even the opening movies went down in amazement. Sochi's was just a few seconds, and the last two didn't even use CGI, and only used in-game graphics for it. Even though they were good looking, it still wasn't as beautiful as London and Vancouver's were. And 2008 as well. So to end it off, this is how I would rank each game, and this is my ideal Mario and Sonic game. Hopefully Sega is watching and listens to what the fans have to say about it. Thanks for watching, guys, and before I go, I want to hear your rankings for the games, the pros and cons, and your ideal Mario and Sonic Olympic Games. Alright guys, I'm out. Bye.